So I wanted to get out here early this morning, happy Saturday by the way, to do this special video, garden tour. It's overcast, so that's gonna make good lighting. So let's get started. So the tropical garden is looking really, really good. Super happy with how it's filling in. Almost can't see the fence, which is a huge goal. So you guys know I'm a bit crazy. I mean, I just am when it comes to stuff like in the garden. Now, I don't like seeing the fence, especially in the jungle garden, because I want the impression that it just kind of goes on and on and on. So over here, the fence, you can see the cracks in the fence there. And here I hung up weed cloth just to make a black, like a dark background to deepen the jungle. Still wondering if that works. We'll see. But my thought was back here where you can see the fence. Now stay with me on this one. Mirrored closet doors. Mirrored closet doors, unframed, just take the mirror out and mount them on the fence. And that way it would reflect the jungle in front of it back. I've seen people put mirrors in their gardens before and it kind of deepens the space. Same idea, except a mirror all along the back fence. Crazy? Yes? No? Comment down below. The pond is filling in with water hyacinths. These are really cool plants because they float. They have these bubbles right here, little air sacs that help them to float, and the roots filter the water. But they do take over. In fact, they are illegal in some humid states. So one of the most talked about plants on the channel is this bloodleaf right here. And I cut it back about a month ago, and it's now kind of putting back. It was just overgrown, but this is a great plant, and it's not tropical. It just looks tropical. And I think one of my first ornamental videos might be on this plant because so many of you have had so many questions and comments about it. And you can grow this anywhere. And I'll explain that on a future video. Same with this Bergmansia. This can be grown in any climate, just needs winter protection in colder winters. So you'd have to take it indoors, but it grows well in a pot. One of the projects I need to get to is this Bougainvillea. It needs to be cut back. I always hate to do it, but like when it's blooming like this, but ultimately it blooms almost all year. So if I didn't do it, you know, in another 2 months, it would be touching the ground. So I cut it back severely about 3 times a year, and it puts all the growth back on within about 3 months. So it's hard to do, but I know it's going to be huge again in 3 months. Okay, there is a new addition to the vegetable garden, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. You may have noticed it in the last couple of videos. I just haven't really featured it, but see if you can notice a difference right now. I finally covered up the ugly slab with decomposed granite. I think it looks awesome. Come take a look. So I have been wanting to do this for a couple of years, but there were so many projects going on. It kind of was the last thing that had to be done. Everything had to be done first, otherwise it'd get messed up. Decomposed granite is available all over, and what it is basically granite rock that is broken down, and it's got different size particles. So it's got these larger particles, and then it's got small clay-like particles that allow it to be compacted into a hard surface. So it's a hard surface, just has this gravelly texture on top. And I really wanted a natural look to this area. I kind of like the idea that it matches the thatched roofs on the structures. Now, decomposed granite is available in different colors depending on where you live, because it's taken out of the mountains where you live. And so it's going to be gray in some areas. It's going to have this more yellow ochre tone here. So it just depends. All right, we'll start the vegetable tour with the pepper bed. One weird thing I've got happening here is this is hyssop and it's dying. I had one die in another bed about a month ago, and then I have one left that looks fine. I don't know. It was healthy one day, and the next day it came out and it looked like that. No idea what's going on. All right, so my shishito plant. This is 3 years old, and here we go. I've had several, I've harvested several times from it. Shishitos are really cool because 1 in 10 is supposed to be hot. Now, I've never had a hot one, so I don't know what this plant's up to, but you want them to be a little bigger than this when you harvest. And they're great blistered in a hot skillet with some kind of fat and some garlic and salt, pepper, and a squeeze of lemon. Something's eating on my pepper leaves here. These are the bells. Got lots of them coming on here. Now, a lot of people have actually written in about these black spots at the joints, thinking it was a disease. Can you see that? These black spots here. That's actually not a disease. That's just a marking on the plant, so nothing to worry about. So this is ripening up here, and this is the one I showed in the pepper video that has the sun scald. The rest of the pepper will be fine. And I do shade these in the afternoon, so the sun scald isn't getting any bigger, but it's not going to fix it either. These poblanos are just about ready to harvest. Not quite. They get a little bit bigger. Now these 3 sweetie drop peppers I'm looking forward to the most. I actually, a friend who came over one time brought a salad that had these little pickled sweet peppers they had gotten at Whole Foods, and I was hooked. I immediately, as a gardener, had to find out what these peppers were, and I had to have them for myself. So these are sweetie drops, and I finally am going to get a harvest. These little, you can see these little tiny peppers, and they're not going to get huge, maybe twice that size. Now, I sowed these seeds last spring, too early. One of those pepper mistakes. I sowed them too early, and they literally sat there and didn't produce any flowers or anything all season. So I overwintered them, and this spring they just flushed out with growth, and they're covered in flowers. So here is my birdhouse gourds, and this has been a fun one. However, I don't think I'll plant them again because they take over. They've already taken over its neighbor's pot and TP and pulled it over into its own, and they're climbing on the wires for the lights. So, and they're covered in mildew, and I got to spray them again. I've sprayed them once, but didn't take care of it. But I do have several fruits on here. There's one I want to show you right here. Look at this. It's huge. You see that? That's got to be like, I don't know, 5 pounds, 7 pounds. There's about 5 big ones on here. So here's my Malabar spinach that I have yet to eat. It's a very beautiful plant. I love the succulent leaves. The flowers are really cool. I don't think the flowers ever open. They just stay like this, and then they pop and drop their seeds. But I love the plant. I love how the stems are red and spiral up the canes. I'm a little bit nervous to eat them. I don't know why. I got to just break down and do it. I don't know if I'm going to like them or not, but I got to try so I can report back to you guys. All right, in the squash bed, I harvested a lot yesterday, so I'm not even sure if there's any left. There's one in there. I've got 2 different types. I've got a zucchini. This is caserta. And then I've got a yellow crookneck, which here is covered in aphids. See, I'm not immune at all. I want to get a wide shot here because the teepees this year are really filled out. Let's see what the best angle would be. So I've got 6 teepees. I've got beans on these 3. Then I've got the Malabar spinach, the birdhouse gourd, and the loofah in the back. So now, can you see a difference between this bean tower and that bean tower? This one is a little sparser. And the reason is yesterday I pruned it. And today I'm going to prune these other two. Now the reason that I'm pruning them is I've never pruned beans before last year. And usually, and mainly because I didn't water the beans enough, ever. Last year was the first year I had drip. Before that, they would hit the top of the canes and they would die. And that was because of a lack of water. I never could water them enough by hand. I would always forget, and they don't like drying out. So if you have that problem, it's a watering issue. But last year, around this time, Kim and Jerry from Cali Kim were coming over to do some shooting in my garden, and the beans, you know, had some dry tips. There was some with whitefly. There was, you know, just brown spots, different things. The sticks that stick out that had the beans on them that are now just little blank sticks, stems. And so I wanted everything to look nice for them and shooting for their channel. And so I went and I pruned off meticulously every leaf that looked like it had any kind of issue, any stems that were sticking out that were empty of beans, and it looked nice. But 2 weeks later, I had this huge just explosion of growth on my bean teepees. And it lasted all the way until September. They were huge. I mean, they were probably 3 feet by 3 feet wide, all the way up, covered in beans. You know, usually later in the season, the beans are all at the top. But because of that pruning, all kinds of new growth at the bottom, including flowers and beans. So today, I'm going to take care of the other two bean teepees. Let's do that. You like my little furry microphone friend? I've seriously got to break down and buy some new clippers, guys. I've had these for like 3 years and they weren't even that great when I got them. So if you have some recommendations for clippers that you like, please put those in the comments below because I am in the market for some. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take off any leaves that have browning. There's quite a few of them. And what you want to do is you want to take the stem, don't just cut the leaf off, otherwise you're going to have a bunch of sticks sticking out. You want to take that leaf, and there's usually on beans, there's 3 leaves to a stem. So go follow that stem back all the way to the vine that's growing up and take it off there. That way you're not going to have blank sticks all over your plant. And we're probably going to find some beans here that are past harvesting. And we're definitely going to find evidence of aphids. This black stuff here. There's aphids actually all over these stems. I got to get hired and spray later. So we're going to take this, follow the stem back to the vine and snip. Same with these sticks. Take them all the way back to the vine. And you can see, maybe through the aphids, there's some new growth right here. And cutting this off is going to stimulate that new growth to pop out and start growing. So I'm not going to make you sit through all of that. These two beans here, the two greener looking plants, are the scarlet runner beans, which I love. This one here in the middle is becoming my new favorite, and this is Blauhilde, which is a purple bean. And I love it because the beans are really tender. They stay tender even when they get a little on the larger side. But I love the color of the leaves and the beans and the stems. It's just a really pretty plant and a good producer so far. You know that we got 3 baby chicks in March. They were a part of the channel. We had a segment on them. Well, one of those hens or baby chicks is a rooster. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that already. If not, go follow me there at California Garden TV. And, you know, we were just sitting out here a week or 2 ago and heard a really strange noise that was not like a normal chicken hen noise. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you got to go hear it. Maybe he'll treat us to a little song right now, although now it's a little bit more developed and he's waking up a little earlier every day. So we're on the farm now, boy. So unfortunately, this Tuesday, we do have to give him up because we're not allowed to have roosters in the neighborhood. I would not want a rooster in the neighborhood if I was my neighbors. I'm already thinking they're freaking out because they're hearing it and probably don't know that we're getting rid of him. But this Tuesday, fortunately, the company that we got him from, it was called Dare to Dream Farms, they exchange. So we can take him in and exchange him for a hen. Now, he's a beautiful rooster. It's a speckled Sussex, and they're gorgeous. I will show you if I can get a good video of him. But in the sun, he sparkles with like this iridescent blue color. Just beautiful. And apparently they have sweet dispositions, unlike a lot of roosters. He's actually still a little bit of a chicken and does not come and peck. So I'm going to try to video me getting him out of the coop and putting him in the car because that should be entertaining. I'm not looking forward to it. But what I am excited about is they have Easter eggers that they're going to exchange for him. And I actually wanted Easter eggers. I have one, and I wanted them back when I got these, but they didn't have them. So I will get one Easter egger in exchange for him, and then I'm also going to buy a second one. So we're bringing 2 Easter eggers back home on Tuesday. And if you don't know what Easter eggers are, they're the ones that lay the really cool colored eggs. So the one we have lays little blue eggs, or big blue eggs. All right, here's my okra. And I've actually gotten about 5 off. They're in the fridge. I'm waiting to get some more so we can have some okra. But they're really cool because the flowers, and I wish one was open right now, the flowers are beautiful. There's one opening, but they're very pretty flowers. And then when the flower fades, like this one right here, you can pull it off and you see the little baby okra. You see that? Little baby okra. And then it will grow and look like this. And this is getting there. Maybe tomorrow this will be ready to pick. About when it's about 6 inches long is when you should pick these. The loofah plant is not disappointing again. It is gorgeous. It is a beautiful plant. Look at these leaves. It is pest resistant. It's got gorgeous flowers. Unlike this one that is not pest resistant, it does have nice flowers, but not the same. I will always grow loofah, and here we have some loofah. These grow fast. Once you see a baby loofah, all of a sudden, you see a big loofah. And yes, if you don't know, these are the loofah that you use in the shower. If you're like me, you thought they grew in the ocean, but as of last year, I learned that they grow in your garden. They are super prolific. This one TP will keep me in loofah for a year. So I just want to show you this back pathway here that has the decomposed granite installed. If you remember, the end of the patio slab was right there at the end of these beds, and then it dropped off into just dirt. And so this actually makes the garden look a lot bigger, definitely cleaner. I'll try to throw you up a before picture here. But that brings us down to the corn that we have growing in these purple Cali Kim smart pots. I've got cobs on here. I'm not yet sure. They look a little more anemic. I don't know if growing the corn in these pots was a great idea. We will see very shortly. They look a little anemic compared to the ones in the Three Sisters bed out front, but we do have cobs, and I poked at some of the kernels yesterday. They're not well developed. If you poke a kernel and it produces some white milk, then you know it's ready. So these aren't quite ready. I would say just a couple more days. All right, so now we're at the bog garden. And a bog garden is basically soil that is very, very rich in organic matter. It's almost completely organic matter, and it's constantly wet. Not just moist, constantly wet. Now the way I get that here is there is a deep hole. I've dug a 2-foot deep hole and lined it with plastic. And then about 6 inches from the top of the soil, I poked holes so it can drain if it gets too full. But I really want that soil to be good and saturated with water because that's the plants that love it. So this is papyrus. This is basically ornamental. I'm not going to be making paper like the Egyptians. But over here, you can see these little spirally stems are water chestnuts. So if you eat a lot of Asian food, you've had water chestnuts. I love the stems. They're actually hollow, very light, much like a green onion, although there are little compartments all the way up. You can feel them crushing as you move your finger up. But what's happening under the soil is the bulbs, the water chestnuts, are spreading, and you can see them. They're coming up. They're coming up in places other than where the original bulb was planted. So here we are at the pond, and this is the other side of the bog, and you can see over here we have taro, which in Hawaii they make poi out of. I've made poi out of taro. It's okay. It's not as bad as people say. So that is a bog. It wants to be constantly wet, so the water from the pond actually keeps that front part where the taro is completely soggy at all times. And behind that, it looks like it's the same bog. It is separated. It's not part of the pond, but it is the bog that stays wet also, but that's from a drip system. Up here in the back, we've got ginger. There's two kinds of ginger. Neither one of them are edible ginger. They're both ornamental. One is white, which blooms in about September, and I'll show you that. It's beautiful and it smells so good. The other one is a red ginger, a torch ginger. It hasn't bloomed yet. I've had it for 2 years. I think this might be the year. Another thing I'm really excited about is last week we got new furniture for the gazebo, which has been a long time coming. The stuff we had before was really old, getting worn out, didn't really match the theme. This does. Come take a look. I love it because it's got a tropical vibe to the actual wood part of the furniture, but it also, the colors match our colors. Now I know you all love the Bergmansia, which we talked about, the yellow Bergmansia. Well, I've got a pink one this year with even bigger flowers. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Bergmansia is really cool because the pollinators that it attracts are night-flying moths and bats. And so there is no scent to the Bergmansia whatsoever until dusk. And then throughout the night, it's got a beautiful fragrance, a very perfumed, it's hard to describe, but it is super strong. So you can sit out here in the gazebo at nighttime and just the smell fills the air. This is the third type of ginger that I have, and the blooms are kind of on their way out, but this is shell ginger. I think I showed this in the last garden tour. Look at this big taro right here. Elephant ear is what it's mostly known by. All right, so here we've got some Swiss chard and some echinacea, which I love. It brings in the butterflies like crazy, and it just looks good. Here's the hyssop that's working, that's living. I really hope that I'll get at least one. And my latest Instagram sensation is my watermelons. These are sugar baby, and I found a use for some masks that we're not using. These have a ways to go, and I think the masks might outgrow the masks pretty soon, so I'm gonna have to come up with another idea. But I basically just slung them in the mask, clipped the straps up here, and we're good to go. So I'm gonna take you back to the tomato bed and show you the Armenian cucumbers. The Armenian cucumbers are really producing like crazy. So I'm not a big cucumber fan, you know, a normal cucumber. Unless it's in Greek food, and then I like it, or as a pickle. But just to slice and eat, it's just not my thing, never has been. However, this is the first year that I've grown these or even tasted these, and I am super excited. I'm not sure I'll ever grow a regular cucumber again. I know a lot of you commented on the last video that I showed these in, saying how much you love them. If you've never had them, give them a try. Find the seeds, grow them next year. It's probably too late this year. Unless you live in have a long summer, then you're okay. But it is almost tomato harvest time. In fact, this coming Tomato Tuesday, I'm going to be harvesting tomatoes. But I want to show you how awesome they look right now. Now don't mind the rat traps, but there is no way I was going to let these sit out all night without some kind of protection. Look at these. So this is beefsteak And then I don't know if this is, I've got Kellogg's Breakfast and I've got Golden Jubilee. I think this is the Kellogg's Breakfast that's a little flatter, and then the Golden Jubilee is a little more round. But anyway, we've already harvested a couple of these, and they are so good, so good. I look forward to them every single year. Got lots of green ones still coming on. Now right behind that is my apple trees, espaliered, which have been harvested, they're done. And then the strawberry rain gutter that goes all the way down. See all the strawberries. So that's most of the backyard. We're gonna go out front now. I'm gonna give you an update on the Three Sisters bed. And then on yesterday's video, I talked to you about a new exciting idea for growing edibles and ornamentals together. And I said I had a 4-foot by 25 foot, sorry, a 9-foot by 25-foot bed that I'm gonna be doing that in. So let's go out there and take a look. All right, so this is the area right now. So the new flower vegetable bed is going to go from right there all the way down to right here, which brings us to the Three Sisters bed. And as you can see, the corn has caught up with the beans, and the beans are climbing up the corn. Now these are the purple Blauhilde beans. And they're doing really well. I saw a bloom yesterday, I think I saw a blossom. So we'll get some beans soon. I've also got sunflowers growing in here. Same idea. You can see the beans climbing up the sunflowers. There's some blossoms right here. And then down in front, I've got 2 little baby cantaloupes. And over here, I've got pumpkins to round out the Three Sisters. And if you look in here, I've got quite a few. There's one over here, that's the biggest one, I think. And then we've got about 5 or 6 on here. Now to the right of that, I've got my San Marzano bed. And we've got some ripening up down here. These are elongated fruits that are very fleshy, little seeds, great for sauce. And that's really what I'm growing all these for, is for tomato sauce to last us through the winter. Well, I hope you enjoyed this garden tour. Give me a thumbs up if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely leave a comment. And I will see you guys tomorrow.